Hey, good evening. It's Sergeant Shenanigator here with Alien Mike for our regular Friday night weirdness. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing good. Doing good. Finally feeling better. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm ready to just have a good time tonight.
Oh yeah. I've really been looking forward to this one this week. That's for sure.
This has been some incredible research. I keep learning more and more, and
Yeah,
this might not be the only episode we do on this because there's just more to learn every time.
you're right. And that's something I was thinking about. There are so many different aspects of it that it can definitely be a multi-episode podcast.
Well, before we get to the introduction, let's say hi to Nadine. She's joined us.
Let me pull up chat here. Hey Nadine, how are you doing? It's good to see you again.
So,
How are things going on your side of the world? Hydra, good to see you.
hey, good to see you, Hydra.
I didn't expect you today. That is so awesome. That makes me happy to see you guys are both here.
So, why don't you
All
go
right.
ahead and introduce what we're doing tonight, man?
Okay, so we are doing Mexico's Zone of Silence. Start off with the introduction here. Deep in the deserts of northern Mexico lies a place where compasses spin aimlessly, radio signals vanish, and the desert itself seems to swallow sound. Locals call it La Zona del Silencio, the Zone of Silence, a land cloaked in mystery where stories of falling space debris, strange lights in the sky, and even encounters with otherworldly beings have become legend. Some say it's a magnetic anomaly. Others believe it's a gateway to something far stranger. Tonight, we'll step into the silence, peel back the layers of desert lore, and explain why this barren stretch of land has fascinated scientists, seekers, and conspiracy theorists alike. So, yeah, there was so much to unpack in this episode that I just kept getting lost in it all. What were some things like? What was the main thing that you found interesting, like that stuck out the most to you?
What stuck out the most to me, and I'm sure we're gonna really harp on it, is the three beings that just go to one place.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, the I mean, I've got so many different things written down, from military to meteorites and other, space phenomena, from the paranormal to, communication issues to you name it.
Oh yeah, I mean the other thing, being an old Cold War beat up guy,
Mm-hmm.
the errant missile. That
Yes.
one just intrigues me.
Yeah. So what about the missile is fascinating to you?
I mean, it was the 1970s. Well, we'll tell the story real quick. Back in the 1970s, they launched a missile out of the missile launch facility in Green River, Utah,
Mm-hmm.
and it was supposed to land in White Sands Missile Range, which
Right.
is approximately 450 miles straight line distance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Back then, they didn't load these missiles up full of fuel. They put just enough fuel to make that trip.
Yeah.
Right? This missile, the military claims it went just a little off course. And by a little off course, they meant double the trip.
Yeah.
It went 1,006
So,
miles and crashed inside the zone of silence, which to me is strange that would go there when, as you can see on the map, it's like three and a half degrees off, 4 degrees off.
right. And well, not only that, I mean, with you look at the loss of communication in that
Yeah,
area, what drew it to that area?
exactly. I mean, this could have hit anywhere, but it went right to this strange location that seems to
Mm-hmm.
attract a lot of different things.
Yeah, it definitely does. Where do you know the approximate location of where it's at, the zone of silence?
The
Because I
zone of
know
silence
it touches
is,
on 3 different states in Mexico.
I know the entrance is just east of Durango.
Yep,
And
it's
where the circle is in this map is more or less dead center.
right.
So
So it
it don't
touches
be a
on
triangle.
Yeah, it's roughly I'm good at abducting height. Read the chat too. Yeah, it's the Bermuda Triangle of Mexico, and it's roughly, I think, like 750-ish square miles big. It's on
Yeah.
Durango, Chihuahua, and I've got it written down here. I don't think I could pronounce the last name, but yeah, it's all right in that area.
And it's not a heavily populated area. It looks a lot like this.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it looks like this because this is it. This is the entrance to the
Yep.
zone of silence.
Right. And everywhere I look, the major city, well, I guess you could say, well, not major cities, but the closest cities around it were very, very small.
Yeah.
1,000 people. Like the 3 or 4 next closest cities were, I think, the most had 3,000 people in it. So the people that are generally there are people coming to either work or rock hound or visit just to see what it's all about.
Yeah, well, it is just on the outskirts of Durango.
Yep.
I mean, from what I've gathered, they're not really forthcoming with exactly where the entrance is or where the triangle is.
I haven't
They've got
found
signs out there, but nobody's really sure exactly where it is. It's like it moves.
Yeah, I don't know if I sent you the podcast or the video or not, but there was somebody that I follow on YouTube that she's driving a motorbike I think she went from northern Alaska all the way down through Mexico, and she talks about going there. I mean, it shows her driving there, but it cuts out every single time on her way into the park or to the zone, so you can't tell where it's at. And I think she did it on purpose, so nobody will know unless you habit that area a lot.
I didn't know that Durango is where they filmed The Devil's Rain. That even adds more.
Yeah, I had no clue. Great film. Very good film.
Yeah. So but that's one of the things that really intrigued me, that got me going on it, was this missile. Mm-hmm. Again, back in the 70s, we didn't have the guidance systems that we've got today.
Right.
But when we do missile tests, we don't fill those things to full capacity so they can fly halfway around the world. It's just enough to get it to where it's going, and this thing added an additional 500 miles to the trip. Yeah,
so something pulled it there, because they, like you said, they not adding extra fuel to it. This was no mistake, that it was able to make it that far. Read my article. Which article is that, Lilith? Because I'm definitely going to read that.
Definitely. So, but I know this wasn't the first time with aviation that they had an issue. I mean, you know of an issue that happened back in the 30s, don't you?
Yeah, wasn't it? Was it a plane crash or a malfunction?
It was a malfunction, if I remember right.
Yeah. There was, I don't know all the details to it. There was so much going on in this that I literally. Oh, I don't think I've read that one. I'm going to definitely look into that. There was just so much going on that I sat in my room for most of the time and just listened to podcasts and read everything I could. So I don't think I read much on the plane malfunction other than it happened.
Yeah. This did happen back in the 30s. And initially he lost radio communications, which back in the 30s, that it would have been easy to do.
Yeah, it happened quite a bit.
But then he lost avionics, the little avionics he had, and then he lost complete power in the aircraft and had to do an emergency landing, actually somewhere in this canyon.
Oh, wow. So what ended up, what was the outcome? Because one, communications and everything back then weren't as great as they are now, of course, and two, no radio communications in that area. So what was
they didn't really do a whole lot for that reason. But the pilot kept saying it was just really unusual for him to have lost everything. I mean, that was basically a catastrophic failure of everything he had on that aircraft.
Yep.
Now, I mean, it's probably back then a biplane or
Right.
post World War I, early World War II airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have a lot. It was all fly by wire. But still, to lose everything. I mean, he lost control of the aircraft, and you're talking an aircraft that was controlled by wire. There was no electronics that would make the flaps go
Yeah,
up and
everything.
down or the wings rotate. He
Yeah,
had
all
no
those little
control of that
things.
aircraft other than
Yeah.
down safely.
Yeah, they were all, like you said, back then done by wires, and so you wouldn't expect it to completely shut down everything, but no motor, no going.
Yeah.
So
So what did you find fascinating about this?
I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, there is so much. I know you talked about it, but honestly, the big thing for me was the three people, the two guys and girl. That was the biggest thing that kept drawing my attention. That I kept trying to find as much information as I could, but all you could really find, for me at least, was little stories here and there from different people that said they had some sort of interaction with these three strangers that just show up. So,
Now,
did you
was there
read?
ever a description of the strangers?
So, two guys, one girl, and I don't think I got an age or saw an age description, but blonde hair, very very pale skin, um, in clothes that weren't suitable for that area. You know, when you're in a desert, you're not going to be dressed fancy.
Yeah,
You know,
especially in that area where you're hundreds of miles away from anything.
right? It's hundreds of miles away, and just how horrible the weather is there. You know, the heat, the dryness. It just it was odd to hear the description of them. Um, I kind of bounced back and forth between stories, but the one thing that really caught my attention was they would always show up to this one farmer slash rancher's house, and they would ask to fill their water bottles from, yes, they do look like Jehovah's or Mormons. Um, they they would always show up at this one rancher's farm, and they wanted to fill their water bottles from his specific well, and he always let them. They never asked for food. They didn't ask for help in any other way. It was always just water from that specific well.
Yeah,
And they would just leave after that.
I
And
remember reading that myself, and I remember the farmer saying that he had cold water in the house.
yeah, he did. Yeah, cold running water. Everything was just fine. They could have walked right in, but they refused. They didn't want to go inside. All they wanted was water from that well. And I tried to find any information I could on why that specific well. You know, what was it about it? But there was nothing. I could find nothing on it.
And to answer Jay's question, no, they have not tested the well water, only because nobody really knows where that farm is anymore. It's not.
Right.
It's no longer there.
Yeah, non-existent. So, and that's kind of the problem with this whole story, Jay, is there's no like definitive evidence on anything. You know, it's just from what I found, hearsay from people who have experienced it, or family members that have experienced it. The part that I found really interesting about it, though, was they had come one time and he decided to ask questions. You know, why, why the well? And he started out saying, "Where are you from? You always come here. You always randomly show up. Where are you from?" And all they did is look at him and say, "From above," and that was it. And they were gone.
Yeah.
And
I think the only reason that I wanted to bring this up, and I'm sure that you wanted to bring this up, is this wasn't a story just from the farmer.
No, not at all.
It seems like from the 60s on forward, there were hundreds of people that saw these three individuals just wandering the desert in clothing that did not match the terrain.
Yeah. And what I always found interesting about every single one of those stories is they would show up, they would talk to or associate with whoever was there, and then the person would turn around and they'd be gone. And there was no footprints, no sound, no sight, no smell, nothing that would show they were ever there. They just had an interaction with them or a conversation, turn around to do something, turn back around, and they're gone. No evidence they were ever there.
Yeah. And Mel's Hole. But yeah, no one knows where Mel's Hole is either. And that's another story that fascinates me that I'd love to do an episode
Yeah,
on.
I've watched quite a few things on Mel's Hole that it's something we'll have to definitely talk about.
But back to these three individuals, I just, and it was never, everything I read, it was never the same location. They were all over the entire triangle.
Yeah, and 750 square miles, that's a lot of land.
Yeah.
And to just randomly show up.
But
no,
that brings up another point.
Lilith. Sorry, I'm commenting on Lilith. The hole to hell, no, that's the Russian Borla hole, something like that. It's only about yay big, 12 inches across or so, that they drilled down.
The recording down and got the recording inside?
Right, yeah. I'm
going to find that recording so we can play it when we do a story on that.
Yeah, the first hole was done in Russia. The second one was somewhere else in Europe, and I'm not sure where, because they did two of them. Nadine's right on that. No, Mel's Hole was quite a big hole that had no ending, like that they ever found. They would drop something.
Started throwing their trash in there.
Yeah, throwing trash, you name it. They sent cameras and everything down there, and nothing.
Oh, the recording of that hole, that is very hair-raising.
Sorry, I'm going to move my camera for a minute. Yeah, the thing that I find interesting on that hole is a lot of people speculate that the sound is because of how deep they went. It's the earth, the magma, and everything moving around in there. But I've listened to it quite a few times, and it is intense.
Yeah. I'll be honest. The first time I heard that recording was on Art Bell.
Mm-hmm. Scared the hell out of me.
And I had pulled over to jump in the sleeper and grab my 8 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't sleep the rest of the night.
Nope. I heard that, and it made you think. That's for sure that something wasn't right. But yeah, anyway,
but
not ever knowing where they came from and them randomly showing up. That's another kind of, to me, chilling thing or hair-raising thing, because they just randomly show up in random places with no way to get there and no evidence that they were ever there.
And these guys, they never really, other than the farmer at the ranch, they never really interacted with anybody. They were just there.
They would just show up, and that was it. Like, you'd see them, and then you wouldn't. And
but when you
what's that? You cut out?
When you say that they said they came from above, that brings up the UFO stories of this place.
Yeah.
I mean, not just one or two UFO stories. I'm not even done reading the UFO stories that I've come across on this place.
Yeah, that just goes back to the beginning. There's so much to unpack with this place that I didn't know where to begin. So I just finally, that's where I picked these guys and was like, okay, everybody knows I'm more than fascinated and obsessed with UFOs and aliens, and there was just something about this that didn't seem right.
Yeah.
That it was that one saying, "Where do you come from?" From above. Okay, well, to not give any other explanation of that and then to disappear, it's.
I think I think I need to get my train of thought back. I just lost my train of thought.
I did too. The UFOs, I know, is what you were talking about. You had read a bunch of stories. To be completely honest, I didn't dive really deep into the UFO part of it, which with me is surprising. I would hear or read little things here and there about people seeing them, but that was about it. I kept trying to find more and more information on these people, and was just
I'll bring up some of them, but right off the bat, full disclosure, I'm getting them from Reddit.
Yeah,
so take the
you
story
never know.
they're worth, but the overall consensus is that people are seeing either orbs or they're seeing a triangular craft.
Right.
And a triangular craft. We've had that out here with the Hudson Valley Lights, and
Yeah.
I know they've had triangle crafts on the West Coast that have been spotted.
up north, up from above. You mean up north? Up north in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to just touch on one thing with that, with what you said real quick, triangle craft in general, I can 1000% get behind. When people say orbs, I immediately stop listening. That's like a button for me, because there are so many things that can cause that.
Okay, but when I brought up orbs, I didn't mean like the small orbs. I'm talking like the Phoenix Light size orbs.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood then. Okay.
Because it was so far off in the distance, so they just described it as an orb.
Okay. Now that I'm on the same track, I get what you're saying now. Okay, so I'm behind that. I was thinking you were meaning like when you do
Thank you, Jay.
a
That's where I was
paranormal.
going. No, nothing like that. But Jay just got me back on track. Before we get into more of the UFO stories, there are meteorite stories about this place.
Yes, and I
know
forgot
you
about
a little more research on that tonight.
Yeah, the biggest one. I mean, I saw a bunch of different ones. Them talking about, there's all sorts of space debris that falls in that area. For nobody that I found knew a reason why, other than it must be magnetic of some sort. But the one that I didn't get a timeline on, and I may have just missed it, but they said one meteorite hit, and it hit a specific spot in a specific way and at a specific time. And then another one hit right after in the same exact spot in the same exact way, but right after. Yeah, so, and they didn't, from what I recall, say an exact, like what the time frame was between the two.
It was, if I remember right, it was like 15, 20 years.
Okay. Oh, so you might have seen that. Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like it wasn't a huge amount of time comparatively, but it wasn't. I knew it wasn't one, and then right after, 2 seconds later, another one hits. It hit certain way, certain time, and then a little farther down the line, it hit same. Everything was exactly the same.
What I would like to know, and I'll have to research this a heck of a lot. I would like to know how close the missile landed to where those meteorites hit.
That's a good question.
If you do a Google search in that area, you can see where the impact was.
Right.
It's a clearly defined impact zone.
Mm-hmm.
And if the meteorites the missile hit close to where they landed, that would even be more intriguing.
Right. I just wish that they would do, I guess, more research on it, or if they have, it hasn't been discussed.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this is something that Discovery or History should be talking about, and they haven't.
Right, because if you go back to that lady I was talking about at the beginning of the episode that was driving her motorbike down there, that's what she was kind of doing. She pulls up her compass for one, because, no electronics, no compasses, none of that stuff really works down there, and it shows it just spinning, which that anomaly happens in places, but there's always a reason for it, and it's either there's like high concentrations of like research, if known technology works with it. That's definitely true.
Good point. That's a good point.
It's I don't know. There's got to be a reason to it, and I think they need to delve into that a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, Jay's right. It is hard to do. You can't go there with a computer if it doesn't work and do all these scientific tests, but you can do certain things and then write down the findings of what you have, and then there's ways to do it. But I'd like to know what it is about that area specifically.
Absolutely.
Nadine, there are animals there, but that actually brings up a really good point that I wrote down. So give me 1 second to pull this up. It's going to be in the next few pages here.
Well, while you're doing that, I did happen to come across a recording
of
somebody that was walking down there. And I think this is it. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
You can hear the coyotes in the background.
Yep.
You can hear the insects.
Yeah, you hear all that.
Yeah, there are animals down in that area.
Yeah, so to respond to your question, Nadine, so one thing that I found was there have been claims of higher levels of radiation in that area, and I didn't find in exactly what those levels were, but it was high enough that they said because of the radiation levels, plants and animals. Yeah, there was a coyote in that, Lilith. Because of the high levels of radiation, the plants and animals in that area have already started showing signs of mutation. So they're there, they're just changing. Like, the only way I can describe it is like Agent Orange and all that, and how everybody's, I think it was Agent Orange, I could be wrong, but, because of the radiation, it starts having drastic effects on people, plants, animals, everything. And so they've already noticed that.
The few podcasts I've listened to about this, especially when the three beings show up or the UFOs show up, they say there's usually a precursor, and that is the desert goes quiet. The animals stop, the crickets stop. It just goes dead silent.
Yep. It's silent enough that you could hear a pin drop in the sand. It's that quiet. The one, and I think you talked about this as well before, that it was in a podcast that the guys obviously had their information wrong. And I think you read about it, but the lady that, I think it was a lady that, or couple that had car trouble, and they, it was raining. They had car trouble. I think it was stuck in the mud or something.
It was an unexpected storm that came up on them, which is another thing. They do have unusual weather phenomenon down there where it could be, the forecast can be dry and they will have a storm just pop up.
Yep.
And they got caught in one of those storms, and their car got stuck in the ruts in the mud.
Yeah. And the thing that I think where I heard it, they kept getting confused. They were saying these three individuals were the ones that pulled the car out when it wasn't. Do you remember what they said it was?
They said it was one individual that did not look right that pushed him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they did. They did kind of say he was translucent. He wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they could see completely through him, but it wasn't like he was whole. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So didn't he show up in a sort of rain jacket or some kind of rain clothes of some kind?
Yeah.
He helped them get.
Yeah, he was in like yellow.
Like like somebody like a seaman's rain jacket type thing. And didn't they say that he got them out, and I think it was the husband had gotten out of the car to thank the individual, to offer him some water or something, and he was gone. No, nothing, just gone. And
he was not there.
Yeah, he didn't say a word to them, helped them push the car out. That was it. And again, no footprints, no sounds, no nothing. It's, let's thank this individual, and where the hell is he? And that I sounds like a testing zone of sorts. Yeah, that's what I really find fascinating about this zone, is these people that are showing up and then gone with no trace.
Yeah.
It's
I'm going to go through and answer a couple of questions real quick. Nadine said, bigger question is, why aren't they studying this? Is the zone constant? Yes, the zone is constant. And that's why they can't study it, because equipment doesn't work in there.
Yeah.
The U.S. government, with Mexican permission, has come in. They can't get their equipment to work. The Mexican government can't get their equipment to work. So they want to study it. They want to find out what's going on. And as far as how hard is it to get into this place, there are signs out of Durango that'll point you to it.
Yeah,
it's a big tourist trap.
Yeah, that was one thing that I talked,
because there's no help.
Yeah. All right, Nadine, that's always been on my thoughts, that it's probably a testing site of some sort. Yeah, Hydra, I've had that same thought. Time travel.
Actually, before you go into that, wasn't the Mexican oil company, didn't they go in to do testing?
What happened was, I wrote the date down. I think it was 64. But let me look just so I could be sure. Yeah. In 1964, is a state-owned company called Pemex, or Petróleos Mexicanos. They sent an engineer named Henry de la Pena in so that he could look at the land, so they could run an oil pipeline and do all that kind of stuff there, because it was vacant lot, for lack of a better term. And he's the one who actually named it the Zone of Silence, because he tried to multiple times radio back and forth to other, I guess, co-workers, to let them know, yes, this will work for that area, this will work for that, for whatever reason. And he could never get in contact with anybody. And he went back multiple times thinking it was just a fluke, that things weren't working. And it happened every single time. So
they've actually tried to do some testing with non-electrical devices too. I mean,
and
device like a regular compass.
Yeah, and the compasses don't work. And that's why earlier I was bringing up the tests of what's in the ground, because different minerals react differently with the compasses and the magnetism of it. So yes, they couldn't exactly take equipment out there to test, but they could go out there and say, okay, well, my compass isn't working in this spot. Let's do a soil sample, take it back with us and see if there's something in it that shows why things aren't working.
I do know they've done a few of those tests, and they found high levels of iron. And
iron. I think it was iron, mercury. Is it zinc?
Yep.
There's a few different things in this one sample that they took. I don't know how many they've done, and that's the thing is, I sit here saying I wish they would do more research on it so we know more, but the reality is I don't know if they still are. I mean,
Yeah,
governments are governments, and they don't tell you.
exactly.
So they could be doing it, and we just don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, Spooky.
Spooky, it's
Welcome.
about time you got on, buddy. It's not like you have work or anything that you have to do. Come on. Perhaps they need to form.
Travel. Nadine mentioned time travel.
Yeah, and
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 that is interesting because there have been some stories of that as well.
yeah. What stories did you hear, Steve?
Well, I, being a UFO guy like you are, you always get that lost time where I remember seeing the clock at 10 o'clock
And
and then
now
all of a
it's
sudden it's 3 in the morning.
yeah,
The
and
stories I've heard here is they remember looking at their clocks um, at like 10 o'clock. And when they looked again, it was 2 hours prior, 8 o'clock.
right,
So it was like
and
they were going back in time.
yeah, the whole time travel thing is it's always been a huge fascination for me, almost as much as aliens and UFOs. But it's so hard to rationalize certain parts of it, and so it's hard for me to talk about it, I guess, because I think in some point there will be the possibility of that happening, but not anytime soon. So it's kind of hard for me
Uh,
to get into. I
Kaiser mentioned that ancient aliens recorded something down there. I'm going to have to look that up now.
I Ancient Aliens recorded a segment there, so it's not all electrical devices that shut down. I think it's mostly just things that work with some sort of magnetic component. Hydra, do you remember what episode that was by chance, or what's whereabouts? If you find that, will you text it to me? Because you know my thoughts on Ancient Aliens. I've watched most of it, but some of it, I laugh too much when I watch it because some of the hosts are funny. But I'd love to watch that one.
I would too.
Yeah. Has it
But
ever been mined? That I don't know. I didn't personally see anything on the mining.
there are some old mines out there.
Are there?
But they're mines that have dated back to the 1800s, so there's really nothing that you could see. I
Okay.
know the oil company wanted to go out and lay the pipeline, and they never did.
Right. And see, it always stopped with what I read to you about Henry de la Pena going out there and trying to contact his employers, coworkers, and nothing ever working. They went out multiple times, but that was all the information I could find on it. They
Yeah.
never really said why they didn't do it there.
Of course,
I
you'll
found.
watch it for Giorgio.
I'll watch it for Giorgio. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the whole thing is just mind-boggling to me because it honestly, the only way I can describe it is another friend, and I know most of the people here in chat know John from Hawaii. He sent me something yesterday on Instagram that I'll have to pull it up, and I don't know where my phone is. Oh, right here. But it was basically it was a line straight through America or North America and part. I think it touched part of South America, but it was like the paranormal highway, and all sorts of weird shit happens in that span of things. And that's the way I look at this. Is there's so much weird stuff from paranormal to UFO to just electronics, or so many things going on. It's a lot to look into.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
was there anything else that we haven't talked about that
Well,
really stood out to you?
with cell phones now being digital and going off satellite as well as towers, they've been able to use cell phones in here.
Right.
And I've gone through probably about 50 or 60 different stories
Mm-hmm.
about cell phones.
Okay.
And This isn't an actual recording. This is what I've pieced together based on
You're,
heard, and they all pretty much say they've heard the same thing.
okay.
So let me pull that up real quick. So, sorry, I had this ready, and then I went to the recording of the guy walking and the coyotes,
Okay.
and it disappeared on me.
Again,
this is what I've put together and I've built based on what people have said they've heard, and it's all the same thing. They're all making 911 calls, and yeah, I had to look it up first to make sure that they weren't pulling my leg. Mexico
that it's actually
is a 911 country. It's not a 110 emergency number. It is 911 to get emergency services down there.
real quick.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say real quick. Thank you, Hydra, for she looked up the episode and season for that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so to me, when I'm in an area, I can understand, getting static in an area with bad cell phone reception.
Right.
We've all heard that on our phones.
Yep.
But what they've described is they can hear Morse code in the phone call. They can hear like the old Cold War number stations where they're just repeating the same thing over and over and over. And static, but then they also hear static that is in a pattern.
Yeah, and that was the first thing that I noticed was there's a pattern to it. So that's very.
Everybody said, and these are people that don't know each other on these podcasts. They've never talked to each other. Same thing with the Reddit post. Mm-hmm. They don't know who each other is, but they're saying there is a distinct pattern when you get this static.
It makes me wonder, how here in the States, 911 calls are all recorded. They're recorded, and in a lot of cases, you can get access to those calls. And so I'm wondering if we could find actual calls.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I did my research.
Okay.
And when these people said that there were calls, they'd actually reached out to 911 and asked if they were connected because they couldn't hear anything.
Really?
Not a 911 station out there that ever received calls.
None of them received it.
None of them. They say they cannot receive calls within this triangle.
That's weird. Nadine, I do know a lot of Morse code, but and that's why initially I had asked Steve if he could send me, because I thought it was an actual 911 call that you had found.
No, this is the recording I put together based on descriptions that people were saying.
Based on the evidence they had said. And so that's why I was like, well, hell, send it to me and I'll strip it down. And
yeah, I wish this would have been the actual recording.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Yeah. But I'm still looking. If I can find one, I will get it out there and we'll dissect the heck out of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is definitely something that I'm not going to stop looking into for quite a while. There's just too much to go into, And like I was saying earlier, the one thing that I tried so hard is those 3 individuals, but to find actual in-depth detail was hard. Most of the people I ran across, it was the same. Excuse me. It was the same story that these people were telling over and over again, with only slight variations.
Yeah.
So you didn't get much.
I don't know if you got the same thing, but for me, the variations were, one was over on the ridge and they were looking down at where these guys were hiking.
Mhm.
And then the next one would be like 60, 70 miles away on the walking path as they were coming up. But when they got close, they were no longer there.
Yeah, exactly. It's that was one. There was another one I heard that was pretty similar. I mean, it's just they see them in the distance, they go in the same direction to them, or they're headed towards each other, not same direction, and they get around the corner, nobody's there. And so, I mean, for me, it was trying to find out. Okay, well, you say from above, but where is this above really at? Is it talking UFO?
Like up here on these ridges.
Yeah.
So that's where people see them. They'll be walking down roads like this, and they'll see three individuals standing on the ridges. I don't know why I'm pointing at my computer screen like you guys can see where I'm pointing, but
Well, I was just putting my mouse cursor on it, doing the same thing, like right here, circling it. Yeah, but then they get there and there's nobody there.
yeah,
So that's what I loved about this. There is such fascinating things, but trying to find out like the source of all of it, or where it started at. So
yeah. Nadine says seeing people as a mirage.
Yep.
If it wasn't for the story of the barn,
that's what I would think.
I would think mirage every time, because this is the Mexican desert. This
100+ degrees,
yeah,
hot as shit, and
yes,
that's
need a red highlighter.
Start highlighting my screen like you can see it.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we become NFL football announcers.
Yeah. Well, I know when we had tried in the beginning, like if I would share my screen with you or whoever's watching live, it would just show an endless like
Oh yeah,
thing, so nobody could see it. Yeah, we'll have to get more.
Just consider everything in this picture circled.
Yeah, the whole screen is circled right now.
So, but to a couple of UFO stories,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it happened down this trail, but it was in areas like this, and they went out there camping because idiots like us were like, oh, that place has a lot of UFO abductions, let's go camp there.
Right.
So they were out there camping, and it was different times over like a 15-year period, from about 70 to 85, 75 to 90, somewhere in there. I can't remember for sure. And there was a triangular craft that would fly over these ridges.
What the heck?
And they weren't abducting. They were basically just harassing.
Right.
But that's when all of a sudden they'd lose 2 hours of time. All of a sudden they're back to 8 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock like they thought they were.
Right. So do you think then, just I guess speculation, that the high levels of radiation that they say are present in the zone could be what's causing people to see things?
I actually do. I think that could be a very good there goes my train of thought again.
Very good possibility.
Yeah, very good possibility. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even honestly think
the radiation dart through the whole area, though.
No.
And things are seen throughout the whole area.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, just on the drunk aliens harassing drunk campers, that's a really good possibility.
Yep. Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to start doing with the podcast that I completely forgot to mention to you when you say my opinion. given all that we've seen and researched and found out about this, what do you believe in it, or what is your thoughts on it?
I partially believe in this.
Okay.
I believe in some
aspect?
areas the radiation, yeah, it will cause your mind to play tricks on you.
Right.
Add in the heat of the desert,
Mhm.
and I mean you're out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, I can see that, but there's something strange
Right.
that would cause electronics to malfunction. So I believe that yeah, the minerals in the earth may be doing that. But you start putting it together and you start piecing this whole triangle, that's where I end up believing.
Right.
You know, but in certain areas, like in the high radiation areas, I will totally discount the ghosts, the UFOs,
Yeah.
because that's radiation at that point. That's you're bordering on radiation sickness. You know, at a minimum you're getting higher levels than you should be.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I was at on it. You know, when it comes to most UFO related things, I 100% believe in that stuff. There's certain aspects of it that I find more laughable than others, but that's, I guess, more on people's personal experiences that they could be embellishing certain things. But
Yeah. Do I
like,
believe there's paranormal out there? Yeah, you've got mines that, you know, back in the 1800s, mine accidents happened.
right.
So yeah, I can believe that there's possibly paranormal out there.
Mm-hmm. But all on that combination of minerals on the earth combined with the heat doing weird stuff. That, yep.
That's kind of where I lean, but
Yeah.
there's still something strange about this area.
Right.
You
And
know,
I mean,
the
even if the
minerals,
whole,
the minerals can screw with compasses. I get that, but they can't screw with a compass from a missile that was launched 1,000 miles away.
right. So why did it pass White Sands? You know,
Yeah,
when there was nothing there that would cause that to I don't know, that from everything I read into that part of it, that was just very strange, and they have no reason why, and you'll never know why it did what it did, but there is a reason. I mean, there's a reason everything happens. You just may
yeah.
not know that reason.
And now I will go this far on my opinion, and then I'll ask your opinion. It's like what people say about UFOs. 95% total BS.
Yep.
The 95% of the stories out there, I don't believe. But it's the
Right.
5% that keeps me thinking.
Yep.
And
Some
I think
certain
that's me with this place.
yeah, can cause. Sorry, I'm reading this real quick. Hallucinations. So that combined with the heat and radiation, that sounds like reasonable possibility for some of the sightings. Yes, Hydra. That's exactly what I think as well, Steve. In all areas, no, and in some cases, even in a place where there's radiation, I'm sure there's the possibility that somebody saw something and it really happened. Maybe they just weren't exposed enough to radiation.
Yeah.
But
I think Lilith just posted my opinion. You know, I've
just
been in places that just feel odd, magical, or plain bad, so I can't deny there are things going on.
yep,
I think that's my opinion with this place.
yeah, and that's how I am. You know, it, there's always, you know, you trust your gut. If you feel like there's something bad going on there, you know, the chances are, you know, it's an odd place to be. All the radio interference, maybe the ghosts are getting lost and confused too.
That could be.
Yep.
So I think we share the same opinion then.
Yeah, on this place, definitely. I mean, I believe people have seen things for sure. Um, with the hallucination aspect of it, yes, these three people in the beginning, I could have saw, like you said, saw that it was just a hallucination. But when they only show up asking for a certain thing multiple times to one person's place,
Yeah.
there, it makes it hard for me not to believe that.
Yeah. I don't, some of the people I think they went there wanting to see those three beings, and that's how. I mean, they just created that in their mind.
Right, and because psychologically, your
if
body.
If we're gonna go with the aliens being real, just assuming that for a second, my opinion is the three beings are there as a warning, maybe to say, "Hey, this place isn't for you guys. This is going to cause serious sickness. Stay away."
Yeah. EMR does things to your paranoia and or simple stretches your retinas. 100% it does. And so that's, yeah, like you said, I am with you on this. There's a lot of things that could be true, but there are so many things that kind of also go against it, or that could cause people to see things or hear things the way they are. So yeah. I've definitely had this.
Now, before we get off the subject, there is one more sighting that happened down there.
Okay.
And this is 100% Mexican folklore. Take it for what it's worth.
Oh yes.
Yeah. El
Forgot about this.
has been sighted down in this area, and El Charro Negro has been sighted all over Mexico. But
Black Cowboy.
Black Cowboy. It is Mexico's version of our Ghost Riders in the sky. Some believe that this is the devil himself.
I didn't read anything on this. I didn't find anything on this.
I had to dig deep.
Yeah, when I was researching, because I was using everything imaginable to try to find information on the zone. So you dig deep, you find out about this. Is there any particular stories involving him that
come Negro, it's kind of like going to the crossroads and selling your soul.
Okay.
But El Charro Negro will show up and help you out for a promise of something. It may be your soul, it could be anything, but it's basically you're selling your soul to help get out of whatever predicament you're in. And in this area, that would make sense because you're trying to get out of the Bermuda Triangle of Mexico.
Right.
Again, 100% folklore. Take it for what it's worth.
But that's really
to bring the folk.
Yep. We all love a little bit of good folklore.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
but
as
I'll
far
be
as
honest, Mike, I wouldn't mind studying this more.
I really want to. I know I've said it countless times in this episode, but those three individuals, for some reason, they're just like ingrained in my brain. I want to find out more. Just at this point, I'm kind of lost and exhausted all my resources on it because I don't know where else to look. I mean, I've tried Google, YouTube, ChatGPT, different. I mean, and granted, I got quite a bit of information from ChatGPT about not only the zone, but these specific individuals. But no matter how many times I worded it differently, it always said the same stuff.
Exactly. I did the same thing. I won't lie to anybody. I use AI for my investigation.
I do too.
But I always make sure it gives me a link to the post so I can go read.
Right. And that's why when I didn't really start using it until you and I started doing this, because there's something about AI that just annoys me personally. And once I started using ChatGPT, I started liking it, but I've learned that I have to word it 800 million different times to see if it's just giving me a bullshit answer or if that's actually the definition or description of what I'm looking for. And so far it's panned out pretty well, but I'm getting the same responses just worded differently. So there's no information.
So here's what I say. We don't just shelf this and call it a day.
Nope.
Let's just keep checking it out. And if we come up with new and exciting stuff, we'll do another episode on the Zone of Silence. What do you think?
Yep. What does everybody else think about that? I'm 100% for that.
Hey, and while we're waiting for you guys to type in your chat, remember, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for us. help us get the word out that we're trying to have some fun and bring up some strangeness.
Yep. And okay, Sue says yes.
Nadine, I love it.
Yep.
So while we're waiting for more to pop up, we've kind of got some exciting announcements, but
Yes.
we're not going to make the official announcements. Mike, you want to tell them what's going on?
Well, we do have a couple of guests that are wanting to come on. Steve, I don't know if you want to say who yet or not.
I'm not ready to say until we knock down a date. I'm not ready to say who.
Okay.
I know we've talked before coming on tonight.
Yep.
You guys are gonna love
there's
these
a
guests.
couple of there's a couple of individuals that I definitely have a heap of notes to look at this week. Yes, you do, Nadine. But back to what I was saying, you were saying yes. There's a couple of individuals. One that you brought up that I honestly cannot wait for. Like there are some things that are going to be talked about that I'm fascinated with.
Yeah.
Some that is interesting, but I'm not as fascinated with. But one thing in particular, the last thing you mentioned, yeah, like I'm on literally the edge of my seat.
Yeah, it's
waiting for it.
that one's going to be a really good episode, and the individual you're bringing on,
Yeah,
he's coming on with what you love, what I love. It's going to be a great show.
The Men in Black, that would be a fun aspect to look at.
That would be a fun aspect to look at.
Yeah. Just a little quick side note: the Men in Black. That is actually something that I have written down in my notebook that I do want to pursue talking about at some point. So
I'm glad you brought that up because I do too. I want to pursue the comic book version of the Men in Black and the real version.
Yes, and I've seen some videos that people have recorded from CCTV with the Men in Black or supposed Men in Black. That it's fascinating to me. And there's a book here. I'm going to go into the other chat. This is a movie that I absolutely love. And I've watched it so many countless times, but it has to do with Men in Black and stuff in it as well.
Chaos Brief?
The Chaos Brief.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I told you about that Area 51 movie. I watched those found them at the same time and watched them at the same time. And it was just fascinating how that is.
For anybody interested, you want to watch a movie that is funny, but talks about the technology that's used at Area 51. It's on YouTube. It's Area 51.
Did you watch it?
I did. I loved it.
Thank God. I am obsessed with that movie. Because like you said,
it's one of those that makes no sense, but makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. The guy in the movie that's saying, and of course it's a movie, but saying this is how they keep people out of Area 51. This is the technology they use from a military standpoint or a security standpoint. That's what they really use is stuff like that.
Yeah, the technology he talks about is what they use at Area 51.
Yeah,
that's how the camo dudes show up all the time so quickly.
Yep. And the Chaos Brief it's similar in a way. Kids basically find something camping, like UFOs in the sky, and they record it. And one of the kids, him and his boyfriend are bloggers, and they are posting about it. And somebody randomly messages him and says, if they find out, you're in trouble. And he didn't know what was going on. And Men in Black show up at his house. And it's a trippy movie, but really good.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely.
Before we came on, we don't have anything scheduled for next week. So I think we just make it a surprise, and you guys will find out on Monday or Tuesday what we're going to do.
Yep.
But I can guarantee it's going to be another night of strangeness.
Strangeness, weirdness, things from above. You never know.
Or things from below. Could go any direction.
Yeah, sorry. When you said that and the way you look, things from below.
I know. I did that because you looked up at me.
Yeah, I know. But then, of course, where do you think my mind went?
Uh,
Sorry. Lilith, watch the movie. Seriously, watch it. It is strange. It is weird, but it's all stuff that revolves around UFOs, abductions, Men in Black, them implants when they put like aliens put like microchips in you to tracking implants. Stuff. It's all of that. It is so cool.
right. And what I can promise you is next week we will have the announcements of the days of the guests.
Yep. I will actually get down the dates for my guest that I'm talking to you about.
I'll get the dates down for my guest as well.
Okay, and then we'll have both of them out. So I will have to put this out there though, Steve. Your guest can come on, our live video on Friday nights. Mine, unfortunately, if we do it live, it's going to have to be on probably a Saturday around 2:00 your time or so.
Around 2:00 Eastern time.
Yeah, on a Saturday. So the time difference is kind of screwy with all that.
But we'll let everybody know the change.
Yeah.
Times, and I mean when we do have guests from overseas, we'll make a flexible schedule so we can work with them because I want to get on.
Yeah, that was the only concern that I had, and this person was totally fine if we did a recording of it so that they could be on. They were fine with that, but I really wanted to, since we do it live now, I really wanted it to be live.
I want live so we can ask the questions, and when questions pop up on the chat, they can ask questions.
Yep, and
I want everybody on our channel to be able to participate in this.
Lilith, can Mike's guest beat up Steve's guest?
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Oh, that would be a close fight.
Yeah, that'd be a really close fight. So you will post what next week is going to be later in the week.
Yeah.
Yes,
I will have it posted either tomorrow or Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, and we'll figure out what's it. Or who knows? Maybe we'll just put surprise as the description, and you guys show up not knowing what we're talking about.
Yeah, we can always do what Jay said about the zone of silence. He said, "Wouldn't it be funny if we just did our podcast and sat here in complete silence for an hour?"
Yeah. There we go. Just sat here going,
Yeah, there's a possibility one of them may be the guest. I'll know this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
anything else, Mike?
What's that?
You got anything else for the night?
I think I'm good. Other than saying thank you to everybody. Thank you for bearing with me. I know, Steve, you and I talked about it quite a bit. I felt kind of bad about last week's episode because it was really rough for me, and I felt like I did a poor job at the beginning. But this week it turned out really, really well. I think
this week turned out great, and I thought last week turned out great too.
Yeah, and everybody that I talked to about last week, they understood. They knew I was coming off of being extremely sick, and it was that day that I felt better enough to do the podcast. And I thank everybody for staying with us, and I think that's about existential. That's about what I have for me. What about you?
That's it for me. I'm just looking forward to seeing what we come up for next.
Well,
so
stick around and we'll.
I'm going to steal a couple of words from Art Bell, man.
Yep.
From the high desert of Utah and the Big Apple of New York. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.